And we have another StarCraft 2 AOS review. And okay, let's go find our players. I'm gonna drop the speed a bit. I'll put it on faster since that's usually the recommended. Alright, we've got Zoro with us, another standard build here. This is usually good for tasks. He's going to go for SCV, that's the main damage dealer. So he leveraged all the clone health here, and he's going to be tanking. We've got, I don't know who this is, we've got Warfield. It looks like he was leashing, but maybe not fully. He's going to head bottom with Ivan Zico, that's probably Tandy here. He's got the capacitor. He's not using it to hit the enemies, so not very good play, I guess. We've got Mother on the Marine King. That's probably going to be very strong. I don't know if he needs to fortify, especially in a matchup like this, but both the enemies have damage items while both of these guys are rolling, so they really don't want to be trading here. Let's go over to the mid lane. We've got John cleaning out Pure. Probably shouldn't be dying this early on Raynor. Should also be using the Marauders. Let's look at John. He went QW, so you probably just caught him in a stun. Pure has just E, no Marauders, so that's very clearly why he was getting clapped. He has the mid items, hasn't used his ward yet. John is taking free camps, so he's definitely going to pull ahead quite a bit. Bottom, and here's the top lane. We have AZB. Zoro has rotated over, so it looks like the blue team started on these camps here and stole them. And Zoro is in the lane. What he wants to be doing is clearing these minions and then running back the jungle. Try to get the maximum out of the XP. He's currently, as he's clone fighting Penthos here. Penthos, I don't know what's going on with these items. This is probably not good for your starter build. This is contact, so he does have the QWE, which is okay. Usually you want to probably put more points into Q or W just to clear faster. So since he's landed, I suppose it's fine. He's not using his E. Kind of just a lot of question marks here. Alright, Zoro, he's almost got the SCV. All of these are going to upgrade into his items, unlike the Penthos, who, unless he's also building SCV, would be building a... Wait, hold on. No, yeah, the Penthos is definitely building a knife. He just has a soul engine on top, but it just doesn't really make that much sense on Penthos. He is going to find a camp here. He's going to start farming. Zoro's still in the lane. He does not want to go get his jungle here in between the waves, so it looks like he's still struggling with macro. John is going to take it back here. That just makes sense. He was checking the rune. The rune is up here. And let's see the words. I can't select the words, but obviously one of these words is going to get cleared out. Mother gets a double kill in the bottom lane. Not much to explain. Obviously, this is really difficult to deal with. He's going to steal a minion while his camp is available. Another question mark there. You really want to just be taking these, and if they get low, you will just break them. And that way you don't mess with the XP from the lane. Alright. I suppose you could kill your minion once it gets low, but it's much harder to deal when the camp. In the camp, it takes a lot longer to clear as well. So what you want to do is you want to run over to your camp, grab any of these minions. You can grab all of them, and then go back to your lane and clear that out. Obviously, these creeps are very strong, so you can still use them, and you can see the damage comes through here. An early E, but they let him go. I think with some better kiting, they could probably get that. But it just shows you the power difference between the characters. Like the Warfield doesn't have any physical damage items, but you get 60 extra amp just from Karax here on both characters. So they could just like take that guy down instantly. We've got a kill from AZB in the top lane on Quetco. And we're going to start speeding this up because it's another one of those games. We're going to start slow. It's probably going to be a stomp just based on the lanes here. Same thing with the drafting. You've got most of the qualified players on one team against some relatively unknown. Shiro's going to get taken out here. He's got 3 on him. The Warfield build, this looks like a Psycho Crusher. He's not going to accomplish much with that. It's just not going to do. You really want a Shinobi Divinator start against this type of laning, and even then, you're still expected to lose, especially with just the low sustain versus high damage. He is still hitting his CS though, so good for him on that. Alright, back over to the top lane. We've got Zor still farming that wave out. Minerals didn't get picked here, but it looks like they're cleaning their side of the map, so that seems like the optimal use. Zor is going to run down here without his clone and start taking the refresh jungle, so really good timer on it. So item-wise, he has a coil and a containment vessel. I think we're going to see some memes out of this build. Alright, Mother gets Shiro again in this completely cursed lane. I don't think the blue team have any chance of actually defending this. Let's look at Mother's skill order. We've got 1-1-3, so he is maxing Q. That is not the standard build for most Marine King players, as they'll usually max WE and sometimes just put 1.2, sometimes 0. In the mid lane, we've got Moncito going down. Where he went down? I don't know where he went down. It doesn't matter. He went down. And as far as trade kills, it doesn't mean it. I kind of would want to see some kind of scoreboard just posted here. Like, if I go to, like, player view, yeah, I can see the scoreboard. So that would be nice in the neutral one. But 7-2, so you can kind of tell, like, the bottom lane is just rolling. He could probably 1v2 them here. Just look at items again. He's getting a coat of arms. He gets full dive, fortifies late, gets picked off. Looks like it was a good time to catch it. John is getting a nitrogen from what I see here, which is the best item. It's just that nobody builds it. Gonna interrupt from the Drake here. He is gonna eat way too much damage. That was crazy. Let's see. We got, yeah, this is a blue gene rush with some money items. It's usually a pretty good build if you're ahead, which he clearly is. Got another pick off here on Mjort, who gets ran down. Same combo, and it looks like that's gonna be the theme of the game. Alright, they're on AZB. AZB is low. They grab Shiro. AZB is still low under the tower. Oh, never mind. AZB is on their team. AZB does get picked off as well. So there it goes. And let's have a quick look at items. Still no blue gene here. Probably doesn't have it. Otherwise, you would have just bought it at the shop. We've got continuation. There's the coat of arms. This is probably a Darwin. So he's got very fast clear here. And on the Drake, Silver Soul, so that's a decent pickup there. You would really want a Coral here on Alarak, since this lane is cursed, but if Drake is showing up here, you want the Coral on Drake. This is just, like, not feasible. The Silver Soul could help you run this down, but how often are you going to run after these two and catch them? I don't know. It's not that great of an idea. So just playing with Coral. They're going to hit Yvonne. It barely does damage to him. He's full HP. Mother's got the regen. They also have the blue gene for healing. Mother's starting putting points in W, so he's just going to be too far ahead. Warfield doesn't have healing. In the mid lane, Pure is getting farmed. See, John has his nitrogen, so he full comboed. No points allocated into E here. He doesn't think he needs it, and he's showing that is clearly the case. We've got Smurf Hawk, Pentos, just a knife, and Psycho Crusher here. He is level 10. If we compare with Zoro, who's also level 10, it seems like he is top. We've got a Night Stalker here, and Yvonne has went down again. Mother gonna try to run out. He is getting picked off. Shiro gets picked up as a trade. Zoro, Clone, and Mjort are gonna go down, so the red team seems to be strong enough. Pentos able to clean up all of those. Obviously, they used every resource they had. AZB in the top lane. He's got a Warp Shard, and it looks like this is a Silver Soul, and this is probably a Coral. They don't even need a defense item, given how ahead they are, but Buffer would make sense for Zoro, since most of his damage is actually going to come out as spell, and even then it's not very sticky damage, given he's not scaled, so he barely has items. While the Pentos kind of free to just build full damage here, since he's not going to be contested. Alright, Pure's going to get caught in another Berdu, probably Nitro, and John trades for it. Could try to ult here, just so he can kind of slide out this way, but still a good trade kill here to get the mid turret. There's no trades to be taken for the blue team, so the red team just gets the 1-for-1, gets the turret. They could probably go for a boss as well, just on this. I would push for this top turret here, since it's completely open and there's not really any presence. Zor is going to TP out of his jungle in time. They find the clone, they're going to gang it. Alright, that was excessive, but They didn't realize it was the clone, so they thought they got the real one. Zoro does rotate straight into his top side, gets the jungle there, so that is a really good macro. And you can see the blue team also found the turret, which was left open, so they just a mess up by the red team here. They should have gotten this boss and went towards this turret, but instead they're chasing one guy in the jungle, not even knowing it's a clone. Pento's gonna run into the blue team here. It looks like he is gonna get caught. He's gonna fight and take a 1-for-1. It's a good trade so far, but John does get pulled by Puerco, and he gets cooked. So that is a good play by the blue team. The red team has the gem, which does nothing except give them 400 minerals. They're gonna find the Zoro, and they traded all their HP for the Zoro clone once again. Pure's gonna walk out with his life. He is gonna get AZB. Mother probably can't be killed unless they just pile on him. He does have Fortify here. We're gonna see if he gets a good timer. He does not. He walks out though anyway, and he does get another pick. John cleans up Njord here. Doesn't have really much counterplay unless from Tetra, and they get Puerco as well. So John does have quite a lot of damage here. This is a great build. Obviously he knows what he's doing. So Tetra is the only counter to this. You need Tetra, Crux, maybe a Warp Shard, maybe a Parallax. Like you have to get defensive items, especially when he's this ahead. He's picking up extra add-ons here. We did have Contact get the top turret, so good for him there. It looks like he's building a Cleaver, which is a great item. So even though he has a very slow start, his build is starting to look pretty efficient. AZB gonna pop the lake over here. They're still gonna catch him with the Nitro. Njord is chasing John. John is probably gonna turn on him. Out of range for the clap, and if they're running towards Zoro here, they're probably gonna run after the regular one. This time they do catch him. He is premise low. Contact is gonna live with the ultimate, so great play there. It looked like he was gonna trade for it, but good ultimate with the blue gene, gets him alive. Alright, we know this boss is up here. We do not know there's a bear here. And we have Njord in the mid lane. The blue team is grouping up. You can see there's a really good split from the red team right here on both flanks. So they don't actually want to fight this. They just want to keep the wave at the tower and then sit there. This tower is probably going to go down. This one is not going to, since John's backing up. They do get Puerco in the mid lane. He should have been right behind this turret here, or he should be grabbing one and then running out. But since he doesn't have Parallax, it's not really going to work out. They're going to die here. AZB runs under the turret. He Fortify, really good Fortify timer. They get one hero. Mother's gonna walk in. He's got damage. He did pop his ult. He still has Fortify. Zoro stuck in the middle of nowhere. What is he doing? He has 2 Night Stalkers. He must have had a double purchase, even though he bought these as separate intervals. Most of the blue team gets cleaned up here. We have 3 reds on the map, so it's overall an even trade numbers wise, but the mid lane goes down. The top lane is pretty much cracked. Should have finished this. They're probably going to come back for it, but you really want a tempo on the turret here and then rotate. And then John could have gone this, but obviously he knew he was going to be pretty useful in the team fight, so I'm guessing he rotated mid. In the meantime, instead of pushing out, he has 3 on him here. He's trying to dodge Qs. Probably just want to run in a straight line here. AZB is next in the mix. He's going to 4v1. Turns out he doesn't win the 4v1. I was surprised too. Looks like we've got the buildings of a buffer core hole here still on the Carex. He's getting there. Alright, and on this blue team we have a Silver Soul, Darwin's Fusion Blade, so that's a great build. What else do we have here? Cycle Crusher, Rathion. This looks pretty good to me. It's just slow, and it doesn't really give you too much. Like, it has a bit of move speed, it has a bit of damage, has a bit of range, but it's not really that great. We do have a Rathion complete, so that he's happy with that. We'll see if that helps him. I wouldn't have gone through this Rathion at this point. You just need the Tetra. Puerco gets one-shot by the healing reduction build here, this is going to be very difficult to deal with. And this is pretty much optimal timer here, so John really doesn't have any building defects. It's looking crispy. The red team's going to pick up another Aeon. They're grabbing some jungle. They're going to run towards the boss here. We've got Carex in the mid lane holding the vision, and then they're going to run towards the boss. They're going to probably take this relatively quickly. They've got lots of damage. Probably want to see a Darwin's on Mother here, just because it does more spike damage. You probably just want it as first item. You could take the component from Coat of Arms with Darwin's, or do the other way around. And then you don't need the full Rathion. It is a great item. In this game, you probably don't need to worry too much about Cleaver, but if you're going for a longer game, and let's suppose the enemy team's picking a character of even quality, then you'll probably need a cleaver for something like a Lumen or a Tosh just to deal with them. So anyway, we've got the red team grouping up here. They're missing one member. Here he is. He's got some XP on him. He's got the Darwin, so he's got a huge damage spike here. This tower has healed about a third, and they're just gonna hard tank it. Don't really need to do that, but with the regen they're given, it should be fine. Bottom lane, we've got Zoro's clone getting jumped. He's gonna catch the wave here and start pushing it back. Top side, we are under the tower, so it looks like AZB has taken a free trip back to the fountain. Probably don't want to be sitting in that Drake ult. We've got another pick on John, who also got ran down. So definitely a big mess up here. And you can kind of push out this mid wave at the same time as the bottom wave. You don't need to be over here to make something happen. You can just push this wave, wait right here. And same thing in the mid lane. Push this wave, wait right here. And then your bottom laner, which was Contact at the time, can push towards this turret here, which is the only one that's really exposed. Otherwise, you want to pick out the other team before you're really making moves, especially if you're playing like this. Alright, and we've got Drake once again getting run down here. I still don't think he has Core Hall, so it makes sense that he's getting completely clapped. John, still the same build here. He did not play the last engage well, but we're going to see it. Plays there. We have Tetra here from Pentos, which didn't look to accomplish too much. They're going to hit the turret here. There's nobody contesting. They are fighting Mother in the top lane. Mother is behind the turret trolling them, and they have taken the bait. John is bringing a tower shot with him, so he's going to go down during his ult. Alright, we've got another engage onto AZB, who pops a good block here, but that's not enough. Too little, too late. Mother is... Well, we're not going to call this kiting, so they're probably just going to full disengage this sort of clones, and these regular are chasing. They get Contact, who gets picked off once again, and they're looking for a pick on Ivan, who seems to be carrying this team. He pops a huge gem in the mid lane. He even gets the Drake. Crazy stuff. He probably hit him to proc the aggro, and then the tower did some damage to him. Another reason Drake just has to be really careful on those engages, just because he is prone to just getting hit. Zoro is going to give up some of the John's camp here. He's going to give the tank instead. He's built looking... This is overcooked. He's going to get... He's clone picked off, but he is still fine. Pure has just a blue gene here, so he is full support. He does have a dial, so he can maybe get himself out. He gets TP'd by Zoro. Contact is going to go down in the middle of them. Probably went in too early. AZB has no mana. Mother is low on mana. He does have his fortified, huge fortified from Mother. He is going to get clapped. John gets clapped, and Shiro goes down as well. And so we have 3 blue team members and 1 red team member in AZB who gets cleaned up as well. Not a great fight overall. It didn't look like Karax was fully present for that, so that would have been a big help. He does have the buffer and the vision. Not really much to talk about on this. It's obviously just the build is solid. I believe the Silver Soul's already on AZB, so he just needs to figure out how to not die. Zoro is going to pick up the gem. He's going to drop it. He's going to sit. He's going to drop something else. What did he drop? I can't see what he dropped. It just doesn't show the items. Anyway, we've got Contact trying to 1v3. He is going to get 1. Okay, and he gets a trade-off for, so I suppose it's fine. Kind of an interesting trade there. You probably would want to, you know, walk around the boss first, maybe get the other team to come up and then fight them rather than just run into a straight 1v3, but it looks like he doesn't have time for that, so he's just going to go and take for the 1-for-1. Got more skirmishing in the mid lane here. No slows on Mother, so I don't think he can get this Drake pulled up. He does have the Silver Soul as well. That breaks the slows on active. He's got a superheated, which is why you usually want to get those cleavers. Although he'll probably still get cleaned up by John, so it's not that big of an issue. John, any new items? He does have a Shrink Ray, which is going to be a huge problem for whoever runs into them. We have a Zoro clone that's able to come out of the base. He's going to get jumped by AZB. They're going to steal his pickup. I don't know. Great stuff overall. We've got Contact back up, and he's taking the boss. He popped his Tetra. He is dealing some damage. He got through. Got the boss as well. Probably want to see more attack speed on this build here, but this is what we're going to get. Alright, 2 here, and it looks like the red team is moving different. They are moving across this map here, taking jungle camps. It doesn't look like they're catching anybody yet. They do find Muir on their descent. and it looks like he just missed the memo that the whole team was in on him. You kind of should expect that if you don't see anybody on the map. So ward-wise, I'm assuming these are all red wards. Alright, we've got another pick here. Contact kills Puerco, but they trade for Mother. And Contact is still up with AZB, so I suppose it was a win. They are going to look to push this tower. This doesn't look that siegeable, but since Raynor is so weak, you could probably just hard dive him just by having AZB blink in first. It looks like Zoro is going to bring over his main. He's clone right now just on the defense. And obviously you don't want to let him clear the way if you're trying to push this. You also don't want to be just diving a gemmed up tower here. So John tries it out and it looks like he didn't work at all. The red team, the rest of the red team is just looking at the tower now. On this, you kind of just have to stall here, so if you still want to push for it, you can, but under the Raynor, it just doesn't make that much sense. You kind of have to dive this Raynor. They are going to run into Mother, who is going to back out. He's going to put another late 45. Probably want to get that going earlier so you can just hit them outright. He is going to run away this way, and AZB gets picked off. Contact is here. He gets Shiro. Zoro is chasing Mother. Contact is getting chased down. He gets run down. He dies. Mother goes down to Zoro as well. They're looking for Yvonne. John pops in and ults, but the Karis has TP'd out, so it's another 1-for-1 at the end. And it's a 2-for-4 overall, so the blue team gets another big pick. It looks like the red team is very skilled in staggering here. Not the best result in the fight. You really want your Contact on Penthos here to run with Mother so that he can defend him. And then he would fight the Tassadar while Mother is catching his breath. If you just run into the stack instead of helping your teammate, you're usually going to have those fragmented team fights where everybody gets ran down. So definitely not a very good play from him. The mid turret goes down here. We've got Contact looking for another play again. He's going to get on this Drake here. The rest of the team is ignoring him. He pops Tetra and just goes. Same thing here. You want to see Warfield help out. He's Drake. He has physical damage. He can hurt Penthos. So he should be pulling in some damage here and making sure that it's not just the Penthos running down his Drake in front of his eyes. We've got another gem here. Mother is going to pick it up. He has an FOE, which this is almost like a game closer, so shouldn't see anybody getting too comfortable running after him. We run down the clone again, and we're looking for the bottom turret. They have found the bottom turret. We're going to walk towards it, and we're going to hit it. That seems to be a good strategy to get some damage on it. We're tanking quite a bit. We're going to use the Karek's ultimate for buffer, and we're still tanking the turret. No AZB, you can't tank that many tower shots. That should make sense. I don't know what he was thinking. He really likes hugging those towers. Zoro is going to get a sneaky pick on John. And we are calling for flares. You could really just have an observer somewhere around here. Obviously, it can get pulled, but even one observer is usually enough to see what's going on here. Now, who's sieging this? Raw? I don't know who's sieging this Raw, but it looks like they've been doing that the whole game. Pure gets picked off by Contact. It's just a one-on-one. This time he's got no chance. He gets the pick. We've got Mother, who is looking for some damage here. He's not going to send anything out for this tower. He's just going to wait for the next wave. Pretty good play there. We've got Contact and our MVP Zico here looking for another pick in the mid lane. They're looking for Mjort. He is going to actually cloak out. This is a late Shinobi. Really don't like that ordering. Should see the Shinobi before the Psycho Crusher. These should be inverted. So he completely flipped the script here. I don't like it much. We've got Contact taking another boss here. He is going to pop, I assume this was the R ultimate on Empower, but I hope that's what he used. We're going to hit the boss here. We are going to get the blue team and the heart. He's going to heal up. We've got AZB going down. John trades it for Shiro. Quirko gets Contact, so a 2-4-3 so far, but they did have the boss. So overall, the red team is... It's a worth, but not a good trade, so to speak. They do have the bear in here still. That could be a swinger. They are going to spot it. It looks like the blue team is kind of lost. They're not grouping here. They should be looking for maybe this tower. This tower a lot harder to get just because it's right next to the Sanctum. And it looks like they're going to settle for jungle camps while the red team respawns here. The red team looking for Mjort. They're not going to get him quite yet. Zoro saves his Drake, and they're going to run out. AZB taking quite a lot of damage. He is getting an electric mental. Probably want to just see a Carapace for this game here. Just the regen will offset his tower hugging and all that tanking he's doing. He is frontlining correctly, except when he's in front of a tower. Alright, we've got Yvonne. Yvonne has a hive, so he is completely cracked out. He's got flares, he's got a TS. I mean, can you get any more than that? AZB, he's got flares as well. He's got lots of try-hard items. He's ready to try hard. We've got a bottom push here with a big tank. This looks promising for dealing damage to the tower. However, they left the wave over here. Kind of a noob move if you ask me. You know, this is the Bronze League move. They're going to dive Shiro under the tower. They get him with the Carriage Soul. Easy pickup. I believe they're doing increased damage to this tower since these are Rain King's creeps. AZB tanks another tower and dies. Contact does the same. John in the backline, he's looking for Cure. He gets a trade kill. Probably good trade here considering they did get the tower. We're hitting on Zoro. Zoro goes down. It's just Mjort left. He's going to try to fight Mother, who has an FOE. 1-for-1. That should not have been a 1-for-1, but it is the case. Probably want to see more kiting out of both the range characters here, so you should not just be sitting still. There's got to be more things you can do. Alright, AZB running up the top lane there. He has a pretty good build. I don't know how much money he has. He looks kind of broke, probably because he's making love to the towers a little bit too much. Should be staying alive for these team fights. Alright, and we've got the Pentos pushing here. He's got a Darwin Saber, so this is a certified kind of build, and it's going to be a full clap. He is going to pop the attack speed and try to hit this turret. AZB gets pulled, but it's fine since Pentos got the turret. Gets pulled again. Pentos takes all of these health and HP. Pops Tetra. He is fighting. He is going to get one. He gets traded back. They get AZB as well. Overall, a good trade until the tower, and then you want to back off. Just leave those open, and then you can come back to get them later. Bottom side is already open, so all you need to do as the red team is just, as soon as you get this tower, you can just run back. You don't have to fight 5 people with 2. Alright, we got another Aeon here. We'll see if we're able to get that. Mother is clearing camps. We're pinging Aeon. Zoro is trying to get it. And it looks like we're going to wait for both teams to be fully up to go for another team fight here, and that will probably be the Aeon and the base. Pure should have his ultimate ready. And he did throw it out into the void here. We really want to see a battle cruiser and some really good ultimates from him just to get the tags going. Got a regen on the Drake. Who took this regen? No, the regen's on Pure, which is not good. It should be either on Drake or on one of the carries. And we've got another pick here. Zoro takes the front. He tanks it out here with Parallax. He did activate the Parallax. We've got damage on Quirko, who is going to get barely saved by Zoro here. Another TP. Zoro is going to TP himself instead of Shiro. Probably not a good trade. Should have just let him go down. Unfortunately, it is just a straight death. We've got Zoro who has left. He's not satisfied with his team. Pure not able to get the damage on. Mjort getting ran down here. Shouldn't make it to the base. We're heading for the end here. And it looks like it's going to be a close. Drake another big pull under here, but there's just no teammates. We've got Warfield trying to hit. He does not have a cleaver, so he's probably going to be struggling to kill AZB. It looks like he does get him. Quirko hitting the reflect. Mother is going to clap him. He's going to run out. We're going back again with the free fight. Everybody is low. Mother eats another Rainer ultimate. It looks like he is still looking for more. His Tetra is up. He is going to take the TP out to the top lane to get the tank. Fair enough. It's a different kind of tempo. There's another tank right here. It looks like he is going to take this tank here, unsiege it. What else are we doing? We're popping surrender votes, and we are going top. So this push is ongoing. We're probably going to be looking for the eggs here to close. So he's going to spare us a few minutes. We're not going to go for the boss. We're just going to go for the finish here. And we are going to get Shirazo, who pops a Aegis trying to get a kill, and he gets clapped. Alright, let's get a score screen going here. Alright, score screen, and anybody have a clean shot of this? Maybe AZB does. There we go. Anyway. Alright, so John, really great start, kind of looking very clean on the gameplay. The item build is obviously quite good. Might want to see an Argus Crystal here, maybe instead of the Blue Gene, and you can get the Blue Gene on top after. Shrink Rate is actually really quite good. Like, the only thing that stops it is just Parallax, or like a very advanced Tetra, so this build is looking great, but the gameplay started suffering around mid game, and then you can kind of see him just stagger deaths where he really doesn't need to be. He should just be permanently split pushing, and then as soon as there's some kind of team fight where he can contribute, he can just ult in, kind of get a lot of damage, hit his nitro, hit his shrink ray, and follow from there. Good performance overall, but it's definitely way too messy. There's way too many staggers. All right, now we have AZB, the tower leveler. So AZB was basically just trying to dick down the towers, but he didn't realize it doesn't do any extra damage. So it's just the base tank auto attack. The build is solid here. Could see maybe a parallax, but doesn't need it that badly. What I really want to see here is an organic on this. Just given the nature of this, he's going to take poke from Raynor, Zoro, any of these guys, and you want to just be able to heal that up. Same thing if you're diving, taking tower shots. Assuming you don't want to die to the tower, you can just use the organic to kind of regen up and stay in the fight. So good build, gameplay, very questionable movements towards these towers. It seems like there's an obsession there. Probably need to get that fixed. All right, and then we have Mother. Mother started out with the Coat of Arms Wrathion. So it's a build. Is it the best order? Probably not. You probably want to start with the Darwins and then get the Coat of Arms, or get the Coat of Arms component, then Darwins, just so you get a nice power spike there. The follow-up is quite good here. It's usually hard to find good Marine King items, but it looks like he has most of them. I would probably finish this with a Cleaver. I don't know if I would finish the Wrathion. It just depends on gameplay. Obviously, if you can close out the game quick, Wrathion is going to give you a good power spike, but later into the game, into items like Core Hall, Superheated, and Aegis, the Wrathion is really going to suffer. So I would prep for a Cleaver for this game, just knowing that this team is going to tank up. Even, if the early game looks like it's fully won, it's better to run it that way. All right, next we have Contact. He loves 1v1s, 1v3s, 1v4s. He usually gets these trade, but still looked like his gameplay was just running in, and then later he would think about what's going on. Maybe after he's dead is when he's looking at macro stuff. Or maybe, I don't know, he's taking like a tea break in between these deaths. But he was just brawling. He did get his bosses. Attack speed build kind of lacking here. So the Darwin's is a good finisher item, just to kind of get a little bit of attack speed, a little bit of extra damage in here. The build overall is decent. I really like the timing on his Cleaver there. Maybe you want to see something a little bit more damage oriented, but this is decent here. And I would just say, just get the Psycho Crusher later on in the game, and then get something else earlier, just to have a stronger power spike. Alright, next we have Yvonne. We've got the MVP for the game here. He got an early Blue Gene, and then he had his Buffer and Omniscience, and then he hit a Hive, so he was just always ahead. A little bit of messy E usage in the early game, and it looked like he wasn't fully kiting. Probably could pick off a few more people, but obviously it's a hard winning lane, so I'd say he probably would have more difficulties playing against advanced players, but in this type of roster, he's just going to roll them, just given how crisp the build is. Next up, we have Shiro. Shiro has a full tank item. He has the Darwin's. I believe he started with Darwin's Silver Soul, if I'm not wrong. Could be incorrect, but I like the Darwin start. It does give you the opportunity to maybe deal some extra damage. I don't know if he had the leverage to get this. Maybe he should just be relying on his Warfield to deal damage and just hit his item spikes earlier. But overall, just too many deaths. That seems to be the main issue here. Maybe needed a Parallax to especially get out of stuff like this. I would get Parallax instead of the Darwins on the early timers, and then go for a quick buffer, and didn't continue on. I do like that he finished out his build with just tank items to kind of try to, but even with all these items, you kind of have to position very well and know when to go in and out. So he doesn't quite have that down, obviously. The double Night Stalker Zoro, he just wanted to make sure to stock them extra. He's got a Warp Shard, a Parallax, and an Onslaught, but obviously he's only relying on his shield here, so could have gone better with a better shop usage. Might have seen, like a disable item or something that can allow him to deal with like contact, for example, like a Crux on contact would allow him to take a lot of these fights and just run contact down instead of contact trading 1-for-1, getting those free picks. We've got Pure. Pure has a good build, but the gameplay appeared to be lacking. It looked like he wasn't able to hit all his ultimates there, and he got picked off a few times. Definitely want to rely on Marauders more, especially from level 1 on. So the Marauders are some of the strongest units that you can have just for free. So really want to be using those to scout, to check, to tag enemies, to get the slows on, to get vision. And it looks like that wasn't fully utilized there. The build overall looks pretty good here. Could maybe get like a chilling or a parallax, but this is very solid. Puerco had some great pulls. His build looks fine. Probably same thing. Want to see a parallax here. Get out of the snares. Get out of the slows. That's just going to be more useful. Does he need the silence? He doesn't need it. Could trade one of these 3 items for a parallax. It's definitely going to be better. Probably just switch out the frozen cuirass just for me, because the other ones you can kind of use for anything. Frozen cuirass isn't active, but you have a Rainer on the team. You could get a manual silence, or you could get somebody else to get some kind of disable. And talking about that, we're going to go down over to Mjort, who is our last player here. And Mjort has a full armor build, but it doesn't look like he's equipped to deal with anything from John, so no Tetra here. And he also doesn't have a Crux, so he would just straight up lose any 1v1 against John, I assume, especially if Karax is watching. And then he can fight contact until he gets Cruxed, and then he's cooked as well. So probably want to replace 2 of these, or like all of these items. Like technically, if you're keeping Shinobi as the core, all of these are eligible to switch for like a Tetra Cleaver Crux build, which would be your standard, and that's going to output more, and you can just disable the other player. Maybe a warp shard, something of that nature. It looked like he needed a lot of help in positioning here, so overall he did okay, and obviously his score line is he was doing better than the rest of his team, but still this build is not going to pull your team out of this. Like, you need a miracle to happen, and this is not going to make a miracle. Anyway, that's my review. Thanks for watching.